Just when I thought I was beginning to turn these things around. I'm in a worse situation than I start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. When the weak are meat, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to feed two justice. The fact you chew on your own heart's content, aside from your cell. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream is setting Great Bend will slip through its fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about the last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for this trial to continue. Let me check that. That's the thing, it is a decent photograph. Huh. That bull symbol definitely looks to be a bit of a bull. However, I do want a little more explanation. Alright, this glass may have had partial water in it. That glass was empty. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems I will be able to report the British government on time after all. That smug little. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considerable all the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you... Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke, I don't think you can rule on this case yet. This amateur is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems the trial is over, he gives his ruling. It's the most basic protocol of the courtroom. Your Excellency, just a moment ago, you said that this. As the photographic prints just submitted appear to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there is a problem with that evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then the ruling of the case at this time would be out of the question. This explains jaw clutching. Look at the photographic print. It shows the handbag gentleman is carrying throughout the day in question. There can be no problem with its evidence. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how to glean any information from this handbag. Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's Deptford wheezes. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. Look up my fingers on it. Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned if I'm unsatisfied with your response here. This trial will be over with immediate effect. Do you make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. You're putting us on the line. You identify the court when this print the significant detail is. Not even I know what's going on here. Let's look at the other photos. Wait, the corpse. This makes sense. I guess I am a little bit panicking as well. I'm thinking. That shadow mark definitely stands out, though. We didn't see his hand, though. I want to look at this. There's nothing special about the bag. And position.
Yes!
Look at this, here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering about this new pimple you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that had nothing to do whatsoever with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noted when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't know it at the time of report. But I tell you, in the case, we have no idea what the victim suffered at this point, do we? And a possible way of knowing it either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, the prosecutor actually points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on this precise detail of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment to the Dean and the other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. No, once the court is done, we'll go. Do you believe that this burn has something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I think I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that it might uncover something useful. I agree with that. Yes, you're right. Am I? We can just link that burn to the case. We can do that. We might be able to pry the shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what no more than conjecture. But if we have evidence... Evidence that irrefutably links the burn of the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed the burn. And as soon as you pointed that out, I did not notice. What's the color draining from Miss Brett's face? Really? I have to find something that links the burn to the case. This is the moment of truth. Find some evidence that proves the burn really means. So then, the defense will now present evidence to the court. honestly don't know what to do here. And we can't see his wrist. Okay, this is actually getting a little tricky. I need to think. That was a woman. I'd like to see this. Fitnessburg clearly laid this piece of evidence in the court record. Explain to the court in 5 words or less what the nature of this connection is. Well, it's obviously, thank you. 5 highly illuminating words. What? As I suspected, the rookie student is bluffing. Again. You've been burned there for yourself, Ryunosuke. Sorry. I do feel like I've seen the shape of that burn somewhere before, though. Look through the court record again. Carefully this time. Yes, I will. Find something between that burn and the case. This is the most moment of truth. So then. Let's see, Chazalbra. Alright, University School Medic. Yeah. Okay, looking at the people is going to do no good. Nothing here. There's something I'm not doing. Nope, I'm stuck here. I can say how the corpse was removed, but I really can't do that. I could look at the opposite to see. But there really is no good here.
Yes! Objection!
And that has nothing to do with it either. Drat. I don't remember seeing that burn anywhere. Maybe I should be going for the burn then. What's this, Counsel? And yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe the photographic prints are an amazing invention. When humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in photograph, we may have overlooked the time of recorded furthermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clear visible in a subtle photograph. How did the victim come to have any unusually shaped burn on the wrist? The reason why was quoted here furthermore. What?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for this victim's burn? Simply, it's right here, actually.
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. It looks like a bowl, doesn't it? Are you alright, Your Excellency? I definitely heard a scream there. There is an emblem on that plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval. Ah! The emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Ryunosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. In this news...
Objection!
But even that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. You know, the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened in some other unrelated time. Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Alchi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of this burn is clearly discernible. Such serious injury would have caused quite a commotion at the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hatsunaga? I can't imagine having such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at this picture of the wound, that wasn't suffered very long ago. And, although it's not a particularly large burn, definitely is well defined, as the defense just pointed out. It was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you believe more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. The plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade. Burns like that would have been taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable for the victim wouldn't have let a scream out in pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the waiter of La Carnaval, I can testify for that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it, something isn't right here. The detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. Yeah, Inspector Hatsunaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any day before it. On the day he was shot, he didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, the prosecution had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate. I'll be on careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, and Sergeant, the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without a question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Archie? I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think... can't really be true? Never dreamt we'd have arrived at this conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, we must have the burn to his wrist. Dr. Wilson was already dead. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting I am? It's totally possible if the man was already dead. Knowing what we just know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Oh boy, we're getting somewhere. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another regular ploy by the Ryunosuke student, but he clearly has no grasp in the facts.
Objection!
No, the prosecutor Alchi, it's you who has no grasp on the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had already suffered a burn while at the restaurant, this whole case had turned upside down. Or you have not grasped that yet. Your Excellency, this court must hear the witness again. If it's true, we now believe that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard. It's highly unlikely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency, justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relation between my country and yours. Wait, so you're speaking normal now? You're speaking our language? So you could have understood us the whole time? Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all. Then what's the point of translating back then? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Darn! But it seems the men of this land possess no one of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on my own level. Ah, well. You are a appetite of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this. This lavish consideration so graciously afford us. I see. If that's the case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify your own words about these events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Unfortunately, I have no idea whether the poor man was burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my sticks, the professor and I raised our glasses to toast. As I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death than the gunshot. And if some other way the man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative technique probably wouldn't pick it up anyway. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down the Supreme Court's history. No thank you. Hope that is the last time I have to sully my lips for the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. You sure have! I'll be speaking to our country's Minister of Justice about what happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given a harsh punishment possible. Amen. Huh? No, thanks for that. A prayer then? Why are you saying thanks? She's trying to get you executed in a most vulgar way. I expect you've noticed that this little boy of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, Counsel. That's sure your follow cross-examination of this trial. Very well. Let's please make this quick already. I'll be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Let's see your taunting. Inferior, what do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police have stored everything about the crime scene for their examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just after the incident. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your native detective as to try to pursue a crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? Ah, a killer blow. I very much doubt that. So there's something about what Miss Brett just said. That was a moment before, when something didn't seem quite right. Hasnaga, you okay? What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. We only pressed her once, you know. But I expected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or cross-examination will be over. Kazuma? I'm scared. There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. Oh! The person standing next to her! Inspector Hasanaga! The detective! He's been coughing up blood! Yeah. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself. Let's target him! I agree.
Yes!
Inferior?
Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brandt as an entrepreneur. But things are very different now. For his testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guards down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and train his thoughts. Sorry, pursue. I'll explain how to do it now. Ryunosuke. Do it with a witness marker. What marker? Show me a button. A moment. We're focused on Miss Bright. Alright. Who's the person actually making the current statement? we're going to make a little switch, aren't we? If you notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, first I should move the marker across with the dash buttons. Alright, let's go. D-pad or joystick? I want to see what functions.
Wait. Excuse me.
There we go. Ah! What's the meaning of this? The joystick works. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked to me like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had said. If there's something you'd like to say, please share with the court.
Objection!
What's the meaning of this? It's a delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Absolutely not. Huh? The detective is still in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact he's immediately involved in this case. Inspector Hanstanaga. Yes? Do you have something to add? In relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett. Well, yes. If you don't mind, I'd like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Tetsuo Hasanaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lack on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Oh, he's coughing crazy! A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. There's the bottle of carbonated water I took to the victim's table on the day of question. And yes, it's lost in all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago. But what is carbonated water? I don't care what anyone else says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. You can see it. And the Dire Police Force will be the best among the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. Ahem. I can't say that I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. Well, perhaps, what if the sparkling water happened to be spiked by any chance? Miss Brett? Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. She never actually shown her real eyes. She's used that hat or her mask to hide them. She's hiding something, isn't she? Ahem. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, Professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, corresponding report showed no other possibility causes besides the garbage truck. If there's something on my life being taken without leaving, please do show me. Can't find anything on in place. Okay, then I should examine this. I'm glad I pressed the button to examine instead of present, because I might be on the right track here. I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes. What's it say? That's why I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. green hue. Anything out of place? Come on, tilt a little more. Top anything? Nope, it's just insanity. I'm doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, aren't I? Yeah, I'm going insane, not gonna lie. Yep, that's the same ball, same ball. Perhaps I could present this and see if we get an answer. What is this? The ball of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of death, we know that Dr. Wilton drank from the bottle of carbonated water. Could be that there was a poison inside. Oh, he is sweating! Could that be the professor? Actually died after taking a sip from his glass. Order, 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 order! You only said it thrice. On the day, who was sitting at the table at the professor. There was one person who had possibly done it. Giselle Brett, it was you.
Objection!
If it's French, what if she's not English at all? What if she actually is French? You little rookie imbecile. Have you ever even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? We've gotten that we have only signed a friendship with the British Empire? What about the French? We'll always see that.
Objection!
They're not a political arena. They're the trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect with one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We're here to determine the truth. If you have anything, I'll silence you forever with its fateful attack. What? It should be you. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady! Where did that come from? She just laughed. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. What are you trying to refer? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this peculiar point thoroughly, I believe. The ball, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered a test for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We can find no trace of poison in any description of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The test narratives were miraculously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No. Wait! However, what if the poison is from another country? I'm very grateful to you all Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence to this horrid affair. Thank you. Ah, but of course, your lady. The pleasure was all ours. It hurts to speak, Achi. This can't be right. Everything falls into place as if he was poisoned. Thank you, Consul. I did think the cross-examination had clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot from the chest was the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who, by his own admission, loaded his weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me for now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
That's a new voice! Oh, it's the daughter! What are you doing here? Please wait! Isn't that... What's the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding the court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. In her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in furry cloth. Alright, Mikotoba, let's see. It's going to get a little spicy now. Alright! This is really going interesting, isn't it? Oh boy, we're getting somewhere. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why is the son ingressed to my courtroom? How? A judicial assistant, and this woman, no less. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court. Bruh, what about the last that just showed up, with the French hat and the mask? Yes, I fully understand. I asked for only 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ha, you're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. But, Your Excellency! I am most grateful. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something. Written in English. It's Giselle Brett's research. The Englishwoman's? After the trials resumed earlier, I hurried back into the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, this research, whatever it is, have something to do with this case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of this trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of Kurai and its effect on subjects. Interesting. Kurai? Kurare? What's that? I've never heard that word before. Alright, she's only 16. I had a feeling she was young. And her father. Okay. I was curious from the details. Time's up. Excuse me, sir, but I don't think that was 5 minutes. And also, this is very sexist, not gonna lie. There was too little time for me to read in detail, but I've summarized what I could do for a note just inside the cover. But again, if this is taken back to the old days, they didn't have rights rights back then. So yeah, I'm sorry, that sucks, but there's only so much we can do. Goodbye then, and good luck. You have long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guests any longer. As for the prosecution and the defense, one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made it convincingly enough clear. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. We're out of options here. This is really our very last chance. Yes, I know. We have new evidence, actually. which might be quite useful. That unyielding stare of the true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency. If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It's a delightful invitation. I'm afraid it's not very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realized it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, Counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Well, let's take a look. I think I'm going to read it! Poison was made from the stealth bark of certain trees of the jungles of South America. Interesting! Hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Effects: hits or paralysis of the entire body, and subsequent death in even a minute does. Word of entry: the above-mentioned effects occur when the pendant enters the body through a wound, such as inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result, the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients will die of suffocation. This might be interesting. You should read it too. Ms. Jazz Albrecht, I understand you are studying under Dr. Wilson at the University, doing research. Research? By sheer coincidence, perhaps. Into a deadly poison? What? Poison? What are you going with this, Counsel? A toxin known as Carrara, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What? What complete and utter nonsense? Carrara, you say? I never heard of it. Maybe Carrara, I don't know. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Carrara before this one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct. Which means, no matter what test the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify Carrara. Or Carrera. Why? Because there is no test available that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? It's South American. Order, order, order. Okay, that was 3 times. Counsel, does deadly poison truly exist? According to the report authored by a visiting research student from England, Carrara has been described from the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that they've recently, well, among the European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it produced from the extract of the tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the time century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows with Carrara suffered instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! Oh, these assertions are utter trumpery! Let's start. If the victim had been administered to some of the so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and warbling in pain, and the other generals would have certainly noticed. Except you wouldn't! Maybe you should read the effects of the poison. Obviously, I would have noticed the disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that the Carrara was used. Explain yourself, Consul. That moment toxin enters the poison system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims would lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they are able to total agony, there'd be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. With the chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects would go completely unnoticed. Or largely unnoticed. I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, and as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles to control respiration to fail. Respiration? You're breathing. In other words, your actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim's conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous. To an observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Carrara poison. Darn. That sucks. Dr. Watson actually suffocated to death.
Objection!
This is a very convenient, isn't it? If there are no known poison, which there is no means of testing, what a happy tale for the defense! Ahem, if I may. Why these facts? You think you're so clever, but you might see some... It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady! Oh, wimp. So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another honest hard work, and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. Oh, you complete utter disgrace. You've been hiding evidence. This is the court. Coupling up the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man and frame him for a heinous crime. It really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree? Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison doesn't even exist in the Empire of Japan is breaking the rules. Oh, it can be imported. I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, why not? She can break it. Oh, she's going to drink it. Perhaps it's an antidote, or perhaps as a way she can spike it. Because, wait, of course! It can't be a sparkling water. She had to spike it somewhere else. I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Just going to drink it and survive. She's proving there's no poison. No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Just because you drank the water doesn't mean the poison was spiked somewhere. Goodness. Whatever the matter. I look quite stunned. So, no Carrara? The bottle was clean. Is that what you're trying to say? You look quite incredulous, little boy. Of course. That is the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? I should like to be excused now, please. I think we've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of my friendship between our countries. Ah yes, dear lady. We're most gratified with the assistance that you've given. This doesn't make sense. If there had been poison in that bottle, so how'd she swallow the whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, a little Far Eastern charade will make for an interesting conversation for the next party I attend in London. There has to be some poison in that bottle! Doesn't there? But if there can't be, I've been. because otherwise she would have been kneeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That ball of water... it can't contain poison. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Ryunosuke? Then obvious, if there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. And not just now. They both drank the sparkling water from before, didn't they? So if the bottle was poisoned, she'd be killed too. That was a judge guiding promising live hearing for the console, which will be... oh. That was a mistake. Ryunosuke, I have all the clues now. Ball of water. It does contain poison, apparently. The culprit did put poison in Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool, are you blind? There's no possible way the ball contained poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Bread drinking the water from it. That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? Well, she could be immune. One by one. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert his claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposed poison unscathed? It's a process the entire body and subsequent death. Every minute does. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound. Of course! That's why they licensed the arrows! Oh my god! That is so clever! She is uninjured!
Yes!
The answer to this riddle is right there in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
That is not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. That proud young scoundrel is trying to ridicule your excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone. Honest. I'm trying to read Stanley Chain's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in entirety by the court. It will direct us into the Permanent Section Council, which section report reveals the alleged answer. Special characteristics. Special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this Karara poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Consul? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using poison years and years to list their heads of the arrows that they shoot whenever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes? And the point of the hunting is to catch their prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't have wanted to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Council. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. A wound? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of particular details seem a little strange to me, though. But all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When the Kurara entered the poison through an open wound, it had the terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poison effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authorized its research. You knew the Kurara's special characteristics, and you knew it. You could make a spectacle of drinking the water without any danger yourself. You meddling little rapscallion! Oh, the swan moved! We are getting progress, baby! We are getting progress. It turns out, you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? A lawyer?
Objection!
All of this poison is fascinating, sure, but I fail to see how it possibly... So, you ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Here are some facts in the book, but I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look more silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic had a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? You're talking about how Dr. Watson died. It seems likely that the effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus. Oh yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? She's saying the throat. The professor wouldn't have been died when he thought it, would he? Ah. That's right. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science, even a schoolboy should have understood, no? Order to the court. Logic holds. Even if the lady... I just realized why. I realized why the poison killed him. His tooth got extracted. If the anesthesia took a couple hours to go in, that means that is technically a wound. That means his mouth was a wound and Dr. Watson died because his molar was extracted. That is pure genius! It's welling up inside me. I feel the same thing. We just unfold this crime. It all adds together now. This crime is amazing. I do feel like Sherlock.
Objection!
You darn right, objection! I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you do that tone with me? You know very well there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both of you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure you don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. We now know that poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Kurari? Oh, the answer is simply here. Rosa, I remind you of this. Exclude. Yeah, anesthesia is used to remove pain. There was a wound when the molar was removed. Let me show you this! As Miss Brett so rarely pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. As a fatal difference? The toxic effects of the Kurara are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But, what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been through the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Ah! Oh boy, this is real interesting, isn't it? You acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you are well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. The childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. I'll find out soon enough. What? Did she just run away? You see, when you leave the vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip,